Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. If you've been watching television recently, you've probably heard the bad news. The Trump administration is over, toast, cooked, done for good, and along with it, any hope of the middle-class revolution that 63 million Americans voted for 2 years ago. The reason for this tragedy is simple. The president has been caught committing felonies. Here's what the legal experts without law degrees are saying on television.
If precedent means anything in the Trump era, Donald Trump must be impeached because of the crimes prosecutors say he committed in the Michael Cohen case.
Both parties need to get on board to pass articles of impeachment.
You have conspiracy, you have obstruction, you have campaigns finance, and you have emoluments. If the Democrats do not pursue this vigorously, they will be in some ways held accountable for abdicating their responsibility. It goes to the moral question, the ethical question. Democracy is at stake.
This criminal must be brought up by the Congress of the United States for impeachment.
We're not going to show you the Don Lemon tape. There's a lot of emotion there. But to sum up, they're telling us that we're staring down the barrel of a constitutional crisis. And that crisis stems from what MSNBC describes as, quote, the crimes prosecutors say the president committed in the Michael Cohen case. Which crimes were those? We have the answer. The relevant details were spelled out in a piece that ran over the weekend in the New York Times under this headline, quote, prosecutors say Trump directed illegal payments during campaign. The gist of the story is this. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has told federal prosecutors that he facilitated payments to two women who said they had affairs with Donald Trump. And then, well, actually, that's it. That's the entire story right there. Paying these two women, say federal prosecutors and their flacks at NBC News, was a serious crime, a crime worthy of impeachment, if not indictment. Okay, but you might be wondering, how exactly is that criminal? Well, we're going to explain it to you. We're going to start by stipulating that everything Michael Cohen has told the feds is absolutely true. Now, assuming honesty isn't usually a wise idea with Michael Cohen, but for the sake of argument, let's do it in this case. Everything he says is true. Why is what Cohen is alleging a criminal offense? Remember the facts of the story. These are undisputed. Two women approached Donald Trump and threatened to ruin his career and humiliate his family if he doesn't give them money. Now, that sounds like a classic case of extortion. Yet, for whatever reason, Trump caves to it, and he directs Michael Cohen to pay the ransom. Now, more than 2 years later, Trump is a felon for doing this. It doesn't seem to make any sense. Oh, but you're not a federal prosecutor on a political mission. If you were a federal prosecutor on a political mission, you would construe those extortion payments as campaign contributions. You do this even though the money in question did not come from or go to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Then you'd claim that Trump and Michael Cohen violated campaign finance law because they didn't publicly disclose those payments, despite the fact that disclosing them would nullify the reason for making them in the first place, which was to keep the whole thing secret. That is the argument you would make, both in federal court and through your proxies on cable television. It is insultingly stupid, but because everyone in power hates the target of your investigation, nobody would question you. And that's what's happening right now. Now, by this reasoning, any money a political candidate spends to maintain or protect his image while running for office now qualifies as a regulated campaign donation and has to be disclosed. That would include, by the way, in addition to an infinite number of other things, buying toothpaste and getting a haircut. It would definitely include the taxpayer finance slush fund that Congress has set aside to pay off its own sexual harassment claims. Yes, those now qualify as campaign contributions. They must be publicly disclosed. Except, of course, they're not publicly disclosed, and they never will be. Why is that? Well, that might be a question for congressional leaders, including, now that we think about it, Congressman Adam Schiff of Burbank, California. He's the incoming chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, a very powerful man in the Congress. What does Mr. Schiff have to say about Congress not disclosing the very same payments that Democrats say Trump should be impeached for not disclosing? Let's ask him.
There's a very real prospect that on the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him, that he may be the first president in quite some time to face the real prospect of jail time.
Trump knows that he's facing some pretty strong criminal liability when he leaves office, one way or another. And, you know, even if a sitting president can't be indicted, he's got to know his future looks like it's behind bars unless he cuts some sort of deal with the prosecutors.
So to translate, Trump's a criminal. He's going to jail for committing a smaller version of the same made-up crime that we in Congress have committed for years and forced you to pay for. And by the way, we're never apologizing for that because we don't have to, and CNN isn't going to make us. Screw you, America, and your stupid election. We're in charge. That's the real message here, in case you missed it.